No puedes jugar boxeo, presentado por SEYER, The Boxing Showcase y The Aquino Destinations.
Yeah, it feels awesome, you know, putting on a card over here in LA. I've been waiting to fight here for a while. You know, I love that I have a lot of fans here in LA, but they've been asking me for a long time on social media that they've been wanting me to fight here, and I'm happy that I'm able to do that.
We are thrilled that we can showcase Vergil Ortiz here in LA. I strongly feel that LA has probably the most knowledgeable fan base in boxing. You know, they know their boxing and they expect the best from you. So having to fight Vergil here in LA, he calls it his second home. It's going to be special, you know, especially against another undefeated fighter from the UK. MacKinson is yes, going to be complicated, but we all know Vergil Ortiz is very disciplined, and he has his game plan. He has a great team behind him, with his father spearheading everything. So we feel confident that LA fight fans will come and support him 100%.
Hey Vergil, you was talking to us over there a lot about the trainer change. Could you just kind of tell everybody the thought process of making that change, having your father now as your main trainer, and what you believe Manny Robles can do to help you get to that world championship level?
Yeah, so basically, everyone's saying that there's a trainer change. When we were at Roberts, you know, there's no disrespect to Robert. I feel like my dad has been the one training me the entire time. He's the one that's been doing mitts with me the most, alongside with Hector Beltran as well. And he's the one that was in my corner when I was sparring. He's the one that's always on my ass when I'm hitting the bags, making sure I'm doing every single punch right. You know, so moving to Manny's gym, you know, it's pretty much the same thing. And now that we've added Manny to the corner, Manny brings a lot of things, including experience, and most importantly, a different point of view. You know, sometimes you just gotta, if you have a problem with something, you don't just ask one person. You know, you ask different people, try to get different points of view, just trying to see what they see, and it's no different with boxing. You know, so yeah, he's bringing a lot of experience. You know, he's taking fighters like Oscar Valdez and Andy Ruiz to their world title fights, and hopefully we can do the same with me.
I have a question first for Vergil. Hi Vergil, and then Oscar, please. I'm gonna do the Spanish version. Vergil, I remember that not long time ago, Oscar mentioned during your fight that you are the best contender of Golden Boy. Oscar mencionó no hace mucho tiempo que tú eres su mejor contendiente. ¿Qué significa para ti esa responsabilidad? What is the meaning for you to have the responsibility on you? And of course, Golden Boy mentioned that you are the best.
It means a lot to me because, Oscar was one of the fighters that I admired the most when I was growing up. Don't get big-headed. So it definitely means a lot. You know, just having someone, just having a great fighter like that, backing my name like that, saying that I'm possibly one of the greatest fighters on their roster. You know, that means a lot. I grew up watching Golden Boy fights, and to think that I would be at the top of their roster, that's something that I never would have thought would happen.
Before to go with Oscar, this is your second home, LA, because you're from Texas, but LA loves you.
Yes, this is definitely my second home, and this is actually my first time living out here, especially for like a training camp. I love it. It's beautiful.
Okay, Oscar, puedes hacer en inglés y en español. ¿Qué ves tú como un gran peleador? ¿Qué descubres en Vergil? What did you see in Vergil, talking about boxing skills?
Pues, first of all, when Eric Gomez talked to me about Vergil Ortiz when he was an amateur, you know, when he was scouting him, when he was like just had his eye on him, like, you know, people had their eye on other fighters at the time. And you know, Eric had the eye for Vergil, and so when I saw him, there was just something special there. You know, with at his age, As an amateur, he was knocking guys out. He was just doing special, moves and throwing combinations, and just the way, his work ethic. And I mean, it's better than most. And so, we felt that Vergil was going to become, a special fighter, and he's right on track in doing so. I mean, 18-0 and 18 knockouts it's unheard of, in today's boxing, and with the guys that he's going up against. So we're right there knocking on the door. MacKinson is no walk in the park. He's a complicated boxer, but after March 19th, Vergil's going to be in this position where we have to knock everybody's door down in order and force them to fight Vergil. And that's our job, as a promoter, is to get him the best fights possible. But the one vision that I do have for Vergil is, and I'll never forget this, when he mentioned this, making his pro debut, I believe it was, in Dallas, he told Jerry Jones, "I'm going to be your next guy who fills up that stadium." So I can envision an Errol Spence versus Vergil Ortiz in Dallas at Jerry's World, in a mega event. So the plans are right on track. We are on time to fulfill Vergil's dreams of becoming world champion. It's going to be a little complicated because nobody's going to want to fight him, and the more they wait, the worse it's going to be. He's only getting better. So yeah, exciting times for his career, and we're excited that we have big plans for him.
Finally, Oscar, if we can do this in Spanish.
Sí.
Finalmente, Oscar, it's going to be a very busy 2022 for Golden Boy.
Sí.
It looks like you just returned from Tijuana. Va a ser un 2022 complicadísimo. Vienes de la pelea de Jaime y estás arrancando con todo.
Sí, no, estamos emocionados. Me dormí un poquito, como dicen, pero 2022 va a ser un año especial. Estamos trabajando en unas cosas muy bonitas para lo que es Golden Boy, lo que es el deporte del boxeo. Así que vamos a ver muchas peleas buenas, emocionantes, las mejores posible. Así que Golden Boy was never gone, but Golden Boy is back, baby.
Vergil, we heard some rumors that you were joining Eddie Reynoso. Was there ever any truth to that?
Yeah, so there was some truth to it. I was at that gym for maybe like 3 or 4 weeks. But like I said, it just further proves my point that my dad, was always my main trainer. We were the only ones in the gym for the most part. We didn't get to see too much of Eddie, and it's towards the end of the year where it's the holidays, and I couldn't get sparring either. It's just like a very dead time for boxing, and it was just a really bad time. It was just really bad timing, so we were forced to go somewhere else.
And one for Oscar, we saw Vergil's coaching change. We also saw Ryan Garcia's change
Sí.
coaches. How involved are you in this decision?
¿En español o en inglés? Como sea. Okay, both. Involved? No. I mean, it's like Vergil's saying, he has his father who's spearheading everything, who knows him inside out, who trained him all his life. It was a breath of fresh air to hear what they're thinking. With his father right there in the forefront. It's always nice to have a second voice. And when Vergil or the Vergils were thinking of going to Eddie Reynoso, I liked the idea because he has knowledge, and training aside, a great world champion like Canelo would have been great. But the only issue was that the time. The time Eddie Reynoso has so many world champions, and including the very best one. And if Canelo tells Eddie, hey, let's go on vacation, he drops everything and he goes because they're best friends. So it wouldn't have been fair to Vergil or the fighters. We now see with Ryan, he went with Joe Goosen, which is a great choice. You know, it's timing, and Eddie Reynoso only has time for Canelo. That's the bottom line. And so the choice that the Vergils made was an excellent one, because moving out here to LA, they have the sparring, they have the trainer who is the second voice, who has the knowledge, he has the experience. I think this was a great move, excellent move.
Hi Oscar, Vergil. This question is for both of you, and in Spanish as possible. You said that you had to knock down people's door to get a fight for Vergil, but MacKinson during the virtual conference just said that he wanted to fight him. So does that add pressure to the promotion, to the fight? How does that feel for both of you guys? As a promoter, in case it doesn't go the way you want, and as a fighter?
No, I mean, as a promoter, it's always it's kind of like a dream come true when they want to fight you. Vergil's in a very unique position, being 18-0 and 18 knockouts. World champions know that he's dangerous. World champions know that if they get in the ring with him, there's going to be a huge possibility that they're going to lose. So it surprised me that MacKinson was knocking on Vergil's door, on our door, but it doesn't. It just goes to show you that when you're fighting at this level, I believe he's number 4 in the world, you're gonna cross paths with tough guys like MacKinson. So it's a breath of fresh air to know that MacKinson wanted this fight. So March 19th, all you can do, MacKinson, is bring it to Vergil. Just bring it.
Oscar, ¿a quién te gustaría ver pelear después de MacKinson a Vergil?
Vergil,
¿a quién te gustaría ver pelear o con quién te gustaría pelear después?
Sí, vamos a empezar a platicar. Depende de la pelea en marzo 19. Ya para marzo 20 vamos a empezar a platicar, si todo sale bien, platicar con todos los campeones. Vergil Ortiz es el número 1 del mundo en la CMB. Así que vamos a viajar a México para hablar con Mauricio Suleiman, y a mí me encantaría pelear con Keith Thurman, por ejemplo. Sería una excelente pelea. Keith Thurman creo que está en fila, o está como el número 1 contrincante, o es campeón, pero esa pelea me gustaría para Vergil Ortiz. Pero lo primero es, hay que ganar marzo 19.
Vergil, sin ver a tu opponent, ¿contra quién te gustaría pelear si llegas a ganar esta pelea definitivamente con un knockout, haciendo una definición a la división ahí? ¿Saben qué? Yo estoy aquí y es mi tiempo. ¿Con quién te gustaría pelear?
Yo quiero pelear con todos. I don't have a preference. No tengo una preferencia. I just want to fight the best. And like I said before in past interviews, I'm not the one that's choosing the opponents. They just, I could be playing my game. I remember one day I was playing my game. I was playing Call of Duty or something like that, and my dad walks in like, "Hey, you're gonna fight Reese Hooker." And I'm like, "All right." That's just how it goes. That's just how my days are. That's how I find out, or I'll find out on Twitter. Sometimes it be like that. But yeah, that's just, I just do what I'm told to do. They put them in front of me and I take them out.
Hey Vergil, and Oscar, you can chime in on this as well. Is the scheduling of your first fight of 2022 this early in the year, is that indicative of a busier year, a busier 2022 than you had last year or 2020?
I really hope so. I would love to fight at the very least 3 times this year. Assuming everything goes right, with this fight, we can get back in the ring as soon as possible, and just stay active, stay busy. That's when I feel the sharpest.
Oscar, from a promoter's standpoint?
Yes,
strategy?
The strategy and the plan is to fight him a minimum of 3 times this year. We've already been in discussions, with arenas. We've been in discussions with, other managers from various fighters, this and that. So we're making our moves. It all depends on how he feels, and he comes out after March 19th. But if everything goes as planned, we want to see him in the ring minimum 3 times.
And also, just as somebody who knows boxing, a former fighter yourself, in 2019 you fought 4 times. Could you see the evolution from that first fight to that last fight against Brad Solomon, I think it was?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the evolution is night and day. Every single fight has its purpose. Every single fight is very calculated. It might be a 1-round knockout or it might be a 7th round knockout, but every single fight is giving you knowledge, it's giving you experience, it's teaching you, even though maybe you don't think you're learning, it's teaching you for your next fight, for your future. It's showing you, it's kind of like Mr. Miyagi, wax on, wax off. Like, why the hell am I washing cars here? I want to learn karate. It's the exact same thing. You're in the ring and you're learning as you go. And one thing about Vergil is that, he's a sponge. He's just getting better and better and better. So that's why I tell every world champion out there, fight him now, because if you have your management or whatever waiting for Vergil to, I don't know, he's how old are you? You're young. If you wait a year or 2, he's only getting better. It's going to get worse for you. So let's make these world title fights happen. He's ready. He's knocking on the door. It's going to be pretty interesting to see what happens after this fight, on who's going to want to fight him. But our job is to make these big fights happen, and that's exactly what we're going to do.
And one more note, just on the activity. In the 90s, when you fought 4 or 5 times in a single year, like 1995,
Yeah.
1997, did you feel like those were your sharper years, or like your
Yeah, when you're staying active, when you're in the gym, and when it becomes fun, you stay sharp. Your conditioning is, you're not training to lose weight. You're actually training to get better and sharpen your tools. So absolutely, we want to keep Vergil active as much as possible, because we already know he loves training. We already know he loves running in the mornings. We already know all that. So let's keep him busy. Let's get him these big fights, and that's exactly what we're going to do. En español, compadre. Sí, estamos planeando un año muy grande para Vergil Ortiz. Él está listo, él está preparado, quieren las peleas grandes. Después de marzo 19 vamos a ver qué es la próxima movida, la estrategia para conseguirle un campeonato mundial.
This question is for both of you. Vergil, we've seen a knockout every fight. Oscar, you mentioned that MacKinson's a complicated fighter. Do you think it's important that he goes the distance, or is it going to be one of these fights where it's, you mentioned it's going to be complicated?
Yeah, no, it's obviously up to him. It's up to, styles make fights. That's just the way it is. The fact that he's knocked everybody out, he has power. He has power. He has skill. He knows how to. He just doesn't come in there and want to knock your head off. He has a strategy, and the fact that his opponents can't deal with that strategy is obviously a plus. It's a big thing. But MacKinson, yes, he's complicated, but he's not impossible to knock out. I think Vergil just has to fight his game plan, stick to the game plan, stay disciplined. LA fight fans are gonna want the best of you. They're gonna expect the best from you. Let that not be, pressure or more pressure. Just fight your fight. Do what you've been working on in the gym. Listen to your corner, and everything will be okay.
Last question. Okay,
right.
well,
Beautiful.
questions done. Thank you guys all.
Great, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
No Puedes Jugar Boxeo fue presentado por SEYER, The Boxing Showcase y Aquino Destinations.